Right, so today is Monday, the 26th of October 2020. We're just about some 40-something days to the elections. I trust that you are gearing up, you're lacing your boots, and you're ready to partake in the December 7th polls to choose a leader that will address the many concerns of Ghanaians. Welcome aboard. My name is Kwame Owusu. So this is Good Morning Africa, the newspaper review segment. Let me say a special thank you to all the teams for holding us down from 6 a.m. till now. Greatly appreciate your efforts each and every morning. Let me quickly take you through the topics before I introduce my panelists. Alpha Conde wins third term amid violent protests. That's on the front. That's an African story that we're going to be touching on, captured by the graphic. Stories on page 5 of the graphic newspaper. But in a similar fashion, the Seychelles opposition has won power after 43 years. Seychelles opposition has won power after 43 years. So it means there's hope for all political parties if they put together, if they put their acts together well, and if they keep their house in order, they may be able to wrestle power from the duopoly, hopefully soon. 2 million small arms in civilian hands. The Insight newspaper reported this one. This very dangerous going into the 2020 elections. Samit Jemfi raises red flags over GCB check to my sister's keeper. The Inquisitor reported this particular story. NDC pulls huge crowd in the Rodeo amidst ambush by MPP supporters. Daily Analyst reported this particular story. So these are the topics that we are going to be touching on this morning. I've been joined in the studios by Soprano Sapon Sylvester, who is a member of the CPP communications team. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
And Mujib Rahman is also here. Good morning to you, Mujib. And Mujib is also a member of the MPP's communications team. Mujib, good morning again.
Good morning.
Right. So we kick-starting a conversation from an African perspective. Alpha Conde wins third term amid violent protest. Let's hear from you, Soprano.
Well, Kwame, thank you. Thank you so much, Kwame. And I'd like to, send out my regards to the listening public, around the world, really, especially on the African continent. And Kwame, and thanks for the opportunity. Kwame, just by the way, and just so you know, our flag bearer, the glorious CPP, the red cockerel, our flag bearer is moving around the country, with a message of, redemption, for the suffering masses, So, and also, our chairman and leader, they are supporting the general secretary, Nanaya Jantua, etc. So, we are taking the message to the people of the country. And in fact, we really believe that, especially the youth of the country, who are in the majority, I think, and we are getting indications that the youth in this country are ready to send a shock to the clueless duopoly of the MPP and NDC, because, as you know, nothing is getting done. But substantively, Kwame, Alpha Conde's victory, it's we've seen this movie before. I think that's what I'll say. We've seen this movie before. Usually it ends in disaster for the recalcitrant politician, you understand, who thinks he's indispensable to the republic. You understand? So we have we have leaders, you understand, who is, most of the time, ascend power, as Democrats, and then sort of flip the tables on the electorate, when they, it's time for them to, get off the scene in an authoritarian fashion, So Alpha Conde, sad to say, is not his conduct is nothing new. We've seen it all around, We've seen it all around Africa, and it's very sad that even in this day, we continue to see such misinformed decision making by some of our rather, grown-up leaders. It's very sad. If you look next door, I mean, what are the ramifications? And should we be starting to at least get alarmed, if nothing at all? Because just next door to us, it's Cote d'Ivoire, and we have Mr. Alassane Ouattara, who seems to be, heading down the Alpha Conde route. You understand? Behaving in a sort of Mobutu Sese Kuish manner. You understand? Like Paul Biya of Cameroon. You understand? The list is endless. These, forever presidents, I mean, who, unfortunately, for the most part, one common denominator, for all of these politicians is a spiraling economy that is really leading nowhere. I mean, I must say, Ouattara is a great economist, but it looks like he's ready to break his own pot that, he's sort of created. And how do you say, the potter, and what does the potter do, Kwame? The potter, anyway, I'm just trying to say that if Ivory Coast, or La Côte d'Ivoire, if La Côte d'Ivoire is a pot, then if it's a beautiful pot, it looks to me like Alassane Ouattara seems to be on a certain, strategy to implode the gains made by the Ivorian people over the past, the past decade especially. Remember, dear listeners, Kwame, remember that Ivory Coast went into civil strife. You understand? To the extent that Ivorians, lots of Ivorians ended up in Ghana. Okay, and lots of Ghanaians that were doing business in Ivory Coast, etc. And even non-Ghanaians and non-Ivorians, like Africans living in Côte d'Ivoire, ended up in Ghana because of the crisis that occurred when Mr. Gbagbo, was president. You understand? So what we're saying here is that the Ivorian people, and especially the Ivorian government under Mr. Alassane Ouattara, should be very deliberate and proceed with caution, as they move forward, with this strategy to give Mr. Alassane Ouattara a third term in office. Because, you see, we in Ghana, we don't have extra food to be given to some refugees. Yeah, no, we got to be frank. You see, back in the day, when I was a kid, the Liberian war happened. And the government of Ghana, they built a very nice refugee camp, in Bujumbura. You understand? And they gave them nice modern toilet and nice, pipe-borne water or, portable water, everything, electricity. And that's good. But you see, we want our dear, beloved, great leader, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, to let Mr. Ouattara know that in this modern-day President Akufo-Addo economy Ghana, you see, the average youth in this country does not have a room to stay. Last time I was saying that, Kwame, last week, when I was coming to the show, I saw a bulldozing kiosk belonging to the young people of this country. Kwame, these are youth of this country whom the government has never been able to assist with housing at minimum. And so they find their own way to build a kiosk. And they find an empty piece of land to put it on. You understand? And so maybe they are illegally positioned, their kiosk. And under the eye of the district chief executives appointed by President Akufo-Addo, acting on behalf of the president in those districts and municipalities, these young Ghanaians, their kiosks were broken down. And some of them, they had flat screen TV. Some of them, they had surround sound system. Some of them, they had refrigerators and deep freezers. Some of these young girls who sell ice water. And they just went there and they destroyed the kiosks and their assets. You understand? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, for Christ's sake, forgive me, but couldn't the government have taken some kind of action? Maybe negotiated on behalf of these, Ghanaians and spoken to the owners of the land and told them to give them a certain, period. And could the government not have found, some places to temporarily house these people? And I keep saying this, Kwame, sorry for the digression. But you see, I'm most disappointed in the New Patriotic Party because it seems to me that they lack innovative thought of the sort we expected from them. We have been saying, some of us, that Kwame, there is no shortage of rooms in this country. What is happening, if you walk around Accra, what you are seeing is that there are a lot of people who have built houses all over this city and they are standing empty. Now, we don't say that by force we should house people in there. But you see, in the UK, they had a certain law. They called it the bedroom tax. I would suggest to lawmakers to take a look at the bedroom tax of the United Kingdom and pick some lessons from it. What we are saying is that if you have built a house, okay, and it's standing there empty, then the government should find a way to either compel you to let people come and rent, pay money and stay in it, or you pay a certain minimum tax that can be used, to build houses for poor people in this country. This situation is unbearable. Forgive me, listeners. It's unbearable that, in these times, in this 2020, 21st century, Under the so-called progressive President Akufo-Addo, these things are happening to the youth of this country. You understand? And the youth of this country too, it should happen to you. When you wake up, instead of voting for the glorious CPP, you go and vote for Nana Akufo-Addo and you go and vote for President John Mahama. What do you expect? But getting back on point, Kwame, what I was trying to say is that the people in Cote d'Ivoire should understand that if they fight, they shouldn't come to Ghana and expect...
We are discussing Alpha Conde.
Yeah, but we are discussing the issue of third term. You see, he's going for a third term.
Okay,
you see, and I'm trying to say that the same thing seems to be getting ready to happen in Cote d'Ivoire. And we're expecting that President Akufo-Addo, because he's friends with President Ouattara, should remind President Ouattara that in Ghana, our boys are not getting a place to sleep. Even people sleeping in kiosks is difficult. And so we don't expect them to come and flood our country if they fight needlessly. And secondly, we want the politicians, that the president and his party, to understand that we will never accept a situation whereby a refugee will come to this country and live better than the youth of this country. You understand? That situation, we will not handle it anymore, because there is no way that citizens who live in this country and are paying taxes would, because it seems to be attracting and encouraging some of our brothers in the sub-region that, if you fight and you go to Ghana, they'll build a refugee camp like Budumburam where there's milk and honey. And they'll come and stay there and, they'll be taking UN money and stipend. No. You understand? When you come to Ghana, you're going to be homeless, like the Ghanaian youth who were kicked out of their kiosk. So this situation we have, where the African leaders continue to engineer the constitution to seek third terms, you understand? It's helping no one. You understand? It's helping no one. We hope, and that's why, Kwame, I'm taking this position. Our brothers and sisters in the sub-region, and indeed Ghanaians, we should be careful. If you think Ghana is difficult and this election time, you go and create a fight in this situation. You understand? Don't think you can go to another country and you live a better life.
I thought you were going to look at the issue from the perspective of that new wave that is ravaging the African continent.
Of these three,
Not necessarily. I'm talking about the fact that people have become politically aware of the marginalization, of the unequal distribution of their wealth, and of a certain, detachment, if you will, from the trajectory of things, where they are not directly benefiting from the sports of the state, which has characterized some of these demonstrations that we're seeing, some of these protests, some of these revolutions that we're seeing across the African continent. I thought you were going to look at the issue from that perspective, to say that it is perhaps a wake-up call for all African leaders to be well aware, of the fact that right now, the current generation that we have are not going to sit aloof, watch unconcerned for some of these things to continue to thrive, because they are concerned about themselves, they are concerned about their future, they're concerned about the generations yet unborn. And so, I thought you were going to look at this particular issue, because yes, he may have bulldozed his way through, to get a third term bid. But if you look at the events that happened with respect to his bid, right? It only goes to tell us that people will no longer sit down for politicians to just walk through the park, without attending consequences. Yes, they may have won this time, but subsequently, who knows? If he decides to go for the fourth term, who knows what will happen in Guinea. So I think that we need to look at these issues, and also what is happening in Nigeria, for instance. You can also pull parity with that. You can pull parity with what is happening in Cameroon, Paul Biya, for instance, where the Ambazonians are seeking to be independent. You're looking at the issues in Sudan, for instance. Looking at the issue in Congo. So I thought that you'll be looking at all those issues, Kwame, and forge a certain.
Kwame, just briefly, and I appreciate that's a potpourri of
no, I get it. But I'm just trying to say briefly,
just
they all find expression in each, because I'm saying that the material conditions of the people on the continent are the same. You understand? Issues of unemployment, issues of bad leadership, issues of bad governance, issues of poverty, issues of unemployment. They are the same across the African continent. All of these, forces that militate against the well-being of the African people is what is characterizing the demonstrations that we're seeing across the continent. I'm saying that we must have this conversation predominantly on the basis of all of these things that I've enumerated, which is what is leading to some of these processes.
Kwame, and just briefly, you see, what is happening is I have thought about some of these items you put up, and I'm trying to balance. You see, Kwame, because the situation right now appears to be explosive. You understand? When you consider that about 60% or thereabouts of the youth makes up the population of most African countries right now.
Absolutely.
So we have a youth bulge, as they say. But Kwame, what I'm saying here is that these situations whereby we have poor leadership, okay, that insists on being in power forever, has been happening. These situations have been occurring in Africa for ages. It's just that in this time, the social media awareness, or perhaps worse than Mubarak like 10 times, with massive human rights violations.
I think you're misplacing the argument here. With the greatest of respect to your analysis. If you look at the Arab Spring, the struggle of the people was entirely different.
Sure.
If you look at what is happening across the West African sub-region, it's equal. Oh, well, I mean, primarily they are all based on leadership.
Yeah, yes.
But essentially, what started that protest, for instance, in Nigeria, is the fact that they had, a certain existence of a police force that was brutalizing the people.
Sure.
Now, after demonstrating that and articulating those concerns, they went further to say that, well, you know what? Actually, it's bad leadership. It's the system.
Yes.
And we need to overhaul the system. I'm submitting to you that we have not had a better country without revolution. And
you just hit the thing on it yourself. You see, it's leadership.
We've never had a better leadership without, revolution.
Sure.
And I'm saying that if you made a very succinct point to the effect that if you look on the continent, we have 60% of the population within the youth bracket. Now, is it not strange that you have 60% of the population within the youth bracket, and however you have 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 90-year-olds governing people who are within the 60-year, the youth bracket? How do we marry the discrepancies that there exists between the two?
Kwame, and you see, frankly, Kwame, you see, I have high reverence for elderly people and the experience and exposure that accompanies old age. You understand? I wouldn't even call it old age. I would call it experienced, lifetimes. You understand? People like President Akufo-Addo, people like President Mahama, people like Dr. Kwame P.N.M., people like Dr. Kwesi Boche, who broke the industrial backbone of Ghana. They are very experienced people. And although their experiences may not necessarily have accrued to the positive side of the ledger for some of us or for Ghanaians, they are still experienced. Even bad experience is experience, and in that case, good experience. But Kwame, at the core of this is leadership. And in our time, we have been fortunate enough to be living in a democratic dispensation. So I also place the onus upon the youth of this country that for as long as you continue to vote for people who cannot deliver the goods, don't expect goods to be delivered. You understand? We have a situation whereby a party like the glorious CPP, we are still sticking with the Kwame Nkrumah 7-year development plan. People ask us, what is our manifesto? Our manifesto by default is the 7-year development plan. Ghanaians, until we finish the trajectory set by the founding father of this country, President Kwame Nkrumah, if we don't finish what our father gave us, we will never find our feet. So what I will say to the youth of this country, the situation, Kwame, and my final answer to all of what you are saying is that the youth of this country, who are in the majority, they have a responsibility to elect the leadership that they want. If you continue to treat the politics of this country like a football game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra House of Oak, then you are going to be doomed. Your kiosk will be broken down. You understand? However, if you vote for the Convention People's Party, we are determined to finish the 7-year development plan, by the end of which you have a room to stay. You have good health care, good education. Remember, a vote for the CPP is a vote for yourself. It's about time you voted for yourself.
Thank you.
Forward ever. Thank you.
Mujib. Let me say a special good morning to you, Denali Salam. Mujib, let's hear from you.
Kwame, you were just trying to give him lead as to what is at stake and how he should approach the discussion. But I think, but the point is, the point is that the man came here with his mind fixed that this is what I am coming to say. This is the direction I will situate the discussion, irrespective of the topic. Kwame, I ask you a question.
That's a very harsh.
But that is exactly what you have done.
Soft.
Because Kwame, the point is, people occupy some people's land illegally, and those people were being asked to move. What has that got to do with government? Kwame, even
I'm coming.
I want to put.
I thought you would make your submission and then end with that.
We don't just allow them. We are now some few months, days away from election. It's very critical. The point is, even when you build on structures that unauthorized structures are being demolished by government, people who build on waterways are being developed by pulled down by government. It is very important that we let the rules of this country work. But Kwame, I want to ask him, right from 1957 up to date, which government has been able to give rooms to every citizens of this country? And I want to put it to him that even under Kwame Nkrumah, there were people in this country who were still struggling to get places to sleep. So lest we have a country, we can continue putting heads together to build a country. But don't just try to put words there and try to make some people discredited.
Ghanaians will make a decision in December.
It is very important. And Ghanaians have the opportunity and will always make a decision after every 4 years. The decision was made in 2016, 7th December, and that brought Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo into government.
To our detriment.
That is your opinion. And the opportunity will soon be given. 7th December will come, and the people of Ghana will have the opportunity to decide who should pretend over the affairs of this country. And that will be based on your solid foundation and your solid work. My point is that I think that, let me do it, because if I want to remain there, I will waste a lot of time on that. But Kwame, on the issue of what is happening in Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, etc., I don't think that is a very good development that we are experiencing. But I sometimes not happy because some of these our leaders across the African continent, I don't know whether they have come to the realization that the world has changed and we are in a fast changing world. It is not like those days, like the Mobutu Sese Seko, the Idi Amin, where even access to information was difficult. Access to television, to be able to see what is happening in other parts of the world is difficult. Kwame, today technology, everybody is watching. This morning before I came here, I was watching CNN and BBC. I'm seeing what is happening in Belarus. I've seen what is happening in Chile. I've seen what is happening in other parts of the world. I've seen what is happening in America, irrespective of their own political situation in those countries. And these are informing the African youth and the African people that we can at any point in time demand more accountability from our government. So you can't always, those who were lucky those days to have trampled upon their citizens and have it, I think the situation is different now. But Kwame, my worry is all these countries have subscribed to constitutional rules and they have constitutions. And the constitution, I don't know. I will find out. I don't know how the Cote d'Ivoire constitution is, and I don't know how the Guinean constitution is, because I know in the Ghana constitution, the articles that is talking of the tenure of the president in this country, I think are very well grounded. It is not easy. You can get those articles amended. So anybody who will come maybe getting the opportunity to serve a second term, say I want to change the constitution so that I can go for a third term. So let's, as a people, start from now to discourage the third term, those who will come. But my worry, extreme worry, is the issue of Cote d'Ivoire, Alassane Ouattara. We saw the circumstances. Many times he attempted being president of La Cote d'Ivoire and he was being prevented. People had to support him. International community has to put pressure on the government those days to get, even to the extent that they said he wasn't a citizen of La Cote d'Ivoire, he was from Burkina Faso. So if you are able to fight all these things and you get the opportunity to be in government as the president, why will you want to leave a negative precedent, Kwame? You are the number one person who would have want to leave a very good legacy so that after your exit, but posterity will judge you in a very good light. But Kwame, I am extremely worried that whether it's the desire to continue being in power, I am extremely worried. 8 years, are they also running 4 terms or it's 5 terms? 4 years. So 8 years, even though President Kufuor, in his last State to the Nation address where he was exiting, he said, I wasn't able to achieve all. There are still a lot of things on the table I wanted to do. but because of the time. But he didn't attempt to tamper with the constitution, but he only appealed to the people of Ghana that having experience, having been president, let's have a real look at the presidential tenure of office. But then he is gone. The choice is between me and you and the people out there. If we want to visit and say, okay, it's now 4 years, let's make it 5 years or 7 years, it is our choice.
4 years,
but he will not temper the constitution. And these are statesmen. And these are great leaders we have in this country.
I wish we could review every 6 months.
You see the point? So these are some of the things we should be talking. And this, I think that, so when people in Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea, etc., are watching these things, and you come and you want to subvert the constitution and perpetuate yourself in power, you think the youth will agree.
All right.
And now the opportunity is that there are some are going outside the country, they are studying, they are learning, and they know what is happening in other parts of the world in terms of democracy and this tenant. So
yeah.
Respectfully, you see, the other side of this coin is that the leaders keep on doing this. So when President J.A. Kufuor talks about the 4 year being too short, and I heard from a lot of business people, can't we maybe give it 2 terms? First one, 7 years, and the next one, if you are good, we'll give you 5 more years. Because
you know the finance thing.
No,
Ivory Coast, how many years do they have?
4 years per term.
Check.
I don't think it's 4 years. I think it's 5 years. It's 5 years.
Oh, okay.
And what's happening there?
Anyway, you know.
No, Kwame, that is the bottom line. That's the bottom line. That is the Masa.
Yes, sir.
We are failing our people.
We are failing our people.
The people are voting for the wrong party. They need to vote for parties like the.
How do we know what
people's party?
Masa, you don't let us go into history. What is
you have been governing the country. The two of you have been governing this country since 1980.
No, hold on.
If you are poor in Ghana,
hold on.
But your thought this morning is not
if your life is not good.
Hold on.
This morning,
you have to hold people like
Soprano, I think it's time. Let's respect that. Would you proceed?
No, Kwame, let's Kwame always check Soprano. I don't know where he's coming from this morning.
Where the energy?
Cool down, cool down.
I think it's taking some confidence.
We don't want to go. We don't want. Just telling the Soprano. Why? How old are you? We don't want to go to history. Masa, let us have peace of mind this morning.
Peace of mind. And people kiosks were broken down. He said peace of mind.
Oh, Charlie,
forgive me,
please.
Kwame.
These leaders we are talking today,
yes, sir.
Masa, they are not far from some of the leaders we are hailing today. Those who started as a Democrat, but at the end of it, they wanted to also perpetuate themselves, put in power, and nobody should contest them. One party said those are not the things.
But I don't want us to get into that because
we are not getting to that.
We can defend that. Because the exceedance of the time demanded for that.
Have I mentioned it?
No, I know.
Did I mention it?
Why don't you know?
Well, but if I'm referring to Mobutu, did you know?
But you're talking about.
I haven't mentioned that, but did I mention the name?
You know what? I'm talking about.
Oh, Maza. You see that?
He mentions.
No. So I am saying that some of the current leaders now probably are taking cue from the likes of Mobutu, the likes of Idi Amin and the rest, and the likes of Kwame Nkrumah and the rest. Some of them have their good side and their bad side.
Idi Amin and Kwame Nkrumah in the same breath. Please.
I think that's most unfair.
So Kwame, let's move on. Kwame, whatever it is, I think that the Africa will deserve better.
Okay.
And times are high. We are advancing. Society is changing. We need to be progressing in a positive way, not negative way.
All right.
Kwame, we have decided to go the democratic way. You have your turn. When your term is up, you please go. And presidents should respect the constitutions and the laws.
All right, thank
you. If we don't respect the constitutions and the laws, and how will you expect the citizens to respect the laws?
Thank you very much.
That you are using to govern
Thank
them?
you very kindly.
But Kwame,
026. Oh no, if not ended, you can end.
No, I just want to conclude like saying that as the people are getting more conscientized on daily basis, they expect more. So when you are feeling, there are deep-seated issues that the people harbor. Every day they grumble. But one day, something small will trigger it. We have seen the issue of SARS in Nigeria. Possible the people have harbored a lot. Electricity, etc. is still a major concern to the people of Nigeria. Kwame, and this is a wealthy nation, the largest country in Africa. So what are they doing? Kwame, basic amenities is still a challenge after 60 years of independence. Why? Are we, as God created us to be failures as Africans, black man? We don't have sense.
Oh, why? Calm down, Muji.
Can't we give our people what they need? Kwame, or you want to amass the wealth through corrupt and other illegal means, what are you going to do with the money?
Are you talking about the NPP?
Kwame, what are you going to do with the money?
Is the NPP you are describing, Mujib?
Thank you very much, Mujib, for that submission. If you just joined us, you're watching the news private segment on Pan-African Television. Let me remind you that the WhatsApp number is active, is 026-084-6539. 026-084-6539. You can keep your messages coming through, and then I will read as many as I can on the show for you. Well, the truth is that I'm not going to give Delali any chance to speak to this issue because he came in late. So I'm sticking. I'm sticking to the rules. No, I'm sticking to the rules. He came in late. And so we're going to move from there and discuss some domestic issues. Not that I wouldn't have loved to listen to his submission on this subject matter, but because he came in late, he knows that he's the PRO of a campaign team. So he needs to respect time. No, even half minute I won't give him. Quarter minute I won't give him. I want to be accused of being biased. No problem. No problem. We won't break our backs again. We'll stick to the rules. 2 million small arms in civilian hands. That's very, very dangerous, particularly because we're going into the 2020 elections. That one, I will start with you, my brother Delali, please. No, please, Mujib. No, I am no. Everybody has time. If he touches on that and does not address this issue, I'm cutting him off. Yes. My brother, please.
This is not a democracy. This show is not a democracy.
Good morning. Yeah. How's Nakoyo? She's doing great. Tell her I miss her. Tell her I'm waiting for my cocoa.
Okay. Kwame, good morning to your cherished viewers.
Right.
I want to use this opportunity to apologize to your cherished viewers for being late this morning. Usually that's not my style. But let's make progress. Especially I greeting to my incoming MP, Felix Nakoyo Kuno, the incoming MP for the Owusu Senior East constituency. In fact, she has actually demonstrated that indeed she ought to be elected as the next MP for the constituency. This issue about 2.2 million small arms in civilian hands, as reported by the Insight newspaper, which is
it's 2 million,
which is one of the credible newspapers that some of us grew up to know. So I have no doubt to doubt the story, and we have seen it all over social media. It's been reported by the police, various media houses, TV stations, including Pan-African TV. And this basically, it's an indication of the task ahead prior to the 2020 election. And it adds up to the level of insecurity that we are currently witnessing in this country. And the level of crimes that are all over the country. We grow up, we wake up, the next day we realize that an MP has been killed. We realize that a chief has been murdered. We realize that people have attacked residents, armed robbers on a high street here and there. For me, what is very important is this. I think the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, who under his tenure has appointed a lot of personnel to man our security, has not been up to task. I mean, this is a president prior to the 2016 election. In the NPP manifesto, chapter, page 146, chapter 14 of the NPP manifesto, virtually criticized His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for not being on top of issue when it comes to security situation in the country at that time. Even to the extent that every single insecurity, every single crime that was committed at that time, President Nana Addo Dankwa, then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said we should place it squarely right at the doorstep of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is a statement of fact. This is documented. There's a soundbite to that effect. And even to the extent that it was captured in the NPP manifesto, which became more or less like their blueprints that they intend to execute when, God willing, if they win the 2016 election, with God willing, God give them the victory. So it suffices to make a very logical argument that all the level of insecurity that has bedeviled this country after months of President Danso Akufo-Addo taking over the mantle of leadership of this country, must squarely be put right there at his doorstep, based on his own analysis and his own logic. And this whole thing is the level of impunity that we have witnessed under this particular dispensation. Because you see, I always say one thing. Anytime somebody commits a crime and you overlook that crime, you only embolden the people who have an intention to commit even worse crime of what the person has committed. We have seen instances where people that belong to political party, holding guns, holding machetes, armed to the teeth with weapons, sophisticated one for that matter, that we are even being told that even our national security operatives, what they call the state security services, cannot even boast of such weapons. But yet we have people that belong to a political party, which we have seen videos to the extent that they are wielding weapons that are so deadly to the extent that these people are walking freely. So as we speak, why would people be emboldened to import what we call it ammunition to the tune of what we call it 2 million into this country? That the state machinery, the people who are in charge of our security, they have no any idea about it. But when you talk to the security services, they will tell you that we have no idea about it, we have no clue about it. As we speak, the recent guns that were imported into this country, who has been arrested? What has been the state of what they call the security agency? What has been the statement emanating from the National Security Outfit, from the Minister for Interior, even from the President himself? Nobody has so far made any statement to that effect. And you think even if an investor have an intention to invest in this country, where there's a proliferation of arms, to the extent that the state security itself are not even on top of issues when it comes to security matters, do you think this is enough to even encourage an investor to come and invest in a country which security is in tatters, when we are heading towards a major election, to the extent that even the pronouncement coming from our state security people who are in charge of our handles of affairs does not in any way build that confidence as far as the citizens are concerned? So me, looking at all this thing that is happening, there's one thing that I've always said. President Danso Akufo-Addo, for me, his posture, his demeanor, confirm one thing, that he himself has been a beneficiary of all the violences that has characterized his administration. And nobody can convince me that President Danso Akufo-Addo does not sanction some of the things that we are witnessing in this country. Because he is the chairman of the National Security Council. The very people that stormed Ayawaso Westward, you see the t-shirt that we were wearing, Kwame? The t-shirt that they were wearing when they stormed the Ayawaso Westward constituency, it was embossed on it, NCA, that's the National Security Council.
NSA.
NSA, is that not it?
NSC.
NSC, National Security Council. And who is the chairman of the National Security Council? It's the President of the Republic of Ghana, has been captured in the Constitution. So as we speak, the issue about people importing guns into this country didn't start this year. It started last year, the same thing happened. 2018, we witnessed the same thing in this country. No single individual has been arrested to that effect. And looking at the posture, looking at the pronouncement of the MPP members, look at the sort of activities that they are engaged in, look at the way sometimes they can storm even state institutions, violently take over, they can storm state institutions, attack people who have been duly appointed to man state institutions.
Okay.
And you see, it creating a certain psyche, creating certain psychological disposition in the minds of the Ghanaian people that listen, the governing party even don't trust in the state what we call security. You meet an instance, you meet an MPP person, say, listen, you think we trust the state security, you think we trust the police services, you think we trust the what we call it, the military, and for that matter, they feel so emboldened that, listen, their Delta forces and the invisible forces should be armed to the teeth. No wonder Honorable Kennedy Japan recently on one of his one of his shows on his TV. You know what he said? He said he have disappointed the Delta force, the invisible force, to the extent that this time around, this is the time that they did the most. What will make a legislator, somebody who is a member of parliament, to make a statement to the effect that an organization that has been outlawed by virtue of the law that they passed in parliament, to say that this is the time that they need that particular organization? What is the Delta force and invisible? What are they noted for? Are they not noted for violence? Are they these same people who perpetuate violence on the innocent people of Ayawaso West Wakon? Are these not the same people who stormed the court premises in Kumasi to the extent that a judge who was actually presiding over a case ran away for her life? Are they not the same group of people who stormed what they call the Kumasi Regional Coordinating Council and said they are dissatisfied with the person that the president has mentioned as a regional security coordinator, and they chased him out to the extent that he was beaten to pulp? We saw the video, blood was oozing out. Are they not the same people
who attacked HCP and Tabus right there at the seat of what they call the presidency, beaten to pulp. We saw it, there was CCTV camera, people were captured. What has happened to them? So you see, when you put all these things together, and we know for a fact that even the MPP themselves, the top hierarchy of the MPP, they don't trust the security agency. So at the end of the day, you have people importing what we call illegal arms into the country, and nothing has been done about it. My brother Mujib City can never convince me that, listen, people who imported arms into the country in 2018, 2019, and today we have barely less than 2 months to an election, and people have imported guns. Kwame, have you read any statement coming from the National Security to this effect? Have you read any statement coming from the Minister for Interior, Minister for what we call Defense? None of them have issued any statement to that effect. Nobody has been arrested. Because when we are talking about importation of firearms into the country, it's to be done by company that has been legalized, that have the legal what we call status to import what we call firearms into the country. No wonder all of a sudden you arrest armed robbers and see the kind of weapons that they are holding. You arrest what we call criminals and the kind of weapons even they are holding, police officers, the military don't even have it. You arrest even an armed robber and you tell me a police officer why he tells you that, listen, even the firearms these armed robbers or criminals are using, we cannot even contend with them, we cannot even fight with them, we cannot even what we call compete with them. So when you have even your own security making a statement to the effect that people that they are supposed to go after, the criminals that they are supposed to take, are really even armed to their teeth more than they who are supposed to protect us. And it tells you how fragile we are when it comes to our security. So for me, I think the President of the Republic of Ghana, this is an opportunity. It's too late, but they say it's better late than ever. For the President to redeem himself, for the President to let the good people of this country repose a confidence in him. Because, for instance, all what is happening, it does not in any way help the unity and the stability of this country. All these things that we are witnessing, it does not in any way help to bolster the confidence of our security, what we call it, what they call security personnel. Because if I'm a security personnel and I read something to this effect, that this number of ammunition has been imported into this country, that even the state machinery have no idea about it, do you think it will be able to, what we call it, give me some confidence?
Not imported into the country, are in surveillance hands.
Well, then, hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. You see, what makes it even more, this is even what makes it even more dicey. It's in the civilians' hand. And as we speak, if the police were aware about this ammunition that are in the hands of the civilians, do you think this report would have come out? If the security have the ones who have been trained, and people have gone to the Ghana Police Service, and they have gone through the training, the rudiments, that makes them qualified to be in possession of this firearms or this ammunition, do you think we would have been reading this report? And even in another scenario, what makes you think that all of a sudden civilians are so much obsessed to possess what we call ammunition, to possess gun? Does it not tell you the level of insecurity in this country? Because the only reason why Ghanaians will be so much obsessed, with so much interested to possess their own ammunition, is because of the level of insecurity in this country. Because when I wake up in the morning, I realize a whole professor of law has been killed in his home residence. What do you think I'm going to do? When I wake up in the morning and 3 girls in Takrady all of a sudden disappear, and the woman in charge of our CID come and give us contradictory statement, what do you think I'm going to do? When I wake up in the morning, I realize that people who are sanctioned by national security storm Ayawa's West Wagon, wielding guns, machetes, and what have you not, brutalize civilians. What do you think I'm going to do? When I wake up in the morning, I wake up that, listen, vigilante groups that belong to the ruling political party storm what they call regional security coordinator's office, whisk him outside, beat him to pulp, blood was oozing up. What do you think I'm going to do? So you see, it adds up to the level of insecurity in this country. Because once I realize that my neighbor has been killed, my neighbor has been maimed, my neighbor has been brutalized, my neighbor was a victim during the Ayawaso was not going to buy a lesson, I have no option than to protect myself.
Okay.
Once I realized during the limited registration exercise, Madam Bebisawa Kumsin stormed a registration center, fired a warning shot, nothing has been done about it. She's walking freely, she's above the law. So as far as she's concerned, she's an appointee of President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo. So she's above the law, she's above reproach. What do you think by constituent, the good people of Owusu Senior Council, what do you think they are going to do? Do you think they wake up on election day,
okay,
go to the polling station, and expect Madam Kunsu to come and fire a warning shot?
Okay.
That thing will be done.
This is not a situation that is peculiar to this administration. What did your administration do in respect of ensuring the reduction in small arms being in the hands of civilians in this country, because you know that there was a report that came out in 2013 and 2015, and in fact there was another subsequent report that was put together by the finder in 2015 in respect of the fact that we had firearms, in the hands of civilians in this country. That report was brought out by Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping, a department that deals with, I think, small firearms or something like that. I've forgotten the specific. But there was a report that came out. 2013, you were in power. 2014, you were in power. 2015, you were in power. As a matter of fact, that report captures the situation from 1981 to 2013, 14 actually, sorry. And so if you're looking at from 1981 to 2014, you have been in power the most, right? So one can safely assume that your administration failed to ensure that we created that, bottleneck such that people will not freely import guns into the country, for those guns to be in the hands of civilians, because you are independently painting a picture as though it is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's failure, for which reason we have 2.2 million guns in the system. But one can safely assume that this is a cumulated figure. It is not just this particular administration. As a matter of fact, Akufo-Addo's government has been in power for how many? 3 years. And you in 2015 were in power. So we should blame the NDC and not the MPP when it comes to firearms in the hands of civilians.
I just want to just respond to your question. The issue about the fact that there was a report in 2013 and there was a subsequent report in 2015 relative to the importation of firearms, or maybe firearms found itself in the hands of civilians. For me, what is very important in this particular instance is the picture that I've given to you. You see, President Owusu Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even granted the argument you've advanced, let's assume that that is the case. That is why Ghanaians in 2016, President Owusu Dankwa Akufo-Addo made an appeal to the good people of this country and said all these things, all these accumulated things put together is what has led to the level of insecurity in this country. For that matter, all the level of insecurity in this country should be blamed squarely on the doorstep of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Ghanaians went to the poll, effected that change, and we expect you to do something different. And notwithstanding, having listed or having even, all the things that you've mentioned, would you see what happened in Ayawaso West Wakon? It has happened under this country before, even during the military era. Since under the Fourth Republican dispensation, what we witnessed, that gory, harrowing picture we saw on TV, has it ever happened in this country before? Has it also happened in this country to the extent that a defense minister of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama have even come out to make a statement to the effect that, okay, fine, these things that is happening, we are even unaware about it? Or even a CID, the woman who was in charge of CID, people have been, have been kidnapped. As we speak, there has been a contradictory report. You have the CID boss saying something different, the Minister for National Security saying different, the Minister for Defense saying this. Even a newspaper that is owned by the MPP national chairman published it and said, listen, the 3 girls, Takrady girls, who have been kidnapped, indeed they've been found, and they are even currently, as we speak, they are 37 minutes.
Yeah, with the greatest of respect to you, your own submission contradicts the earlier submission you've made.
No, what I'm saying is
because you are talking about the fact. In fact, you specifically made arguments relative to the fact that we have what is the
I'm listening, Kwame.
Because we have guns in the hands of civilians, that has led to vigilantism and things like that. And then in your own submission, you come again to say that is why civilians must have guns in order to protect themselves.
I said that's what I didn't say. That's what I said. I said that is why there's a penchant for civilians. There's a call for.
Then invariably you are saying that. Invariably you are saying that the 2.2 million guns that. Please, can I do my job, Muji? Please.
Can you do your job?
Invariably you are saying that the 2.2 million guns that we have.
I'm not saying that. I've not said that.
So
I've not said that. I've not said that.
Saying that the 2.2 million guns that we have in this country is what has led to the vigilantism, the proliferation of vigilantism that we have in the country, because that's what you're trying to suggest.
What I'm just trying to say is there's 2 million small arms in the hands of civilians, and I want us to do a trajectory, do what we call a trend analysis. Like you're talking about 2013, 2015.
Yeah, because we didn't see vigilantism in 2013. So why would you now say that
No,
it is because of 2.2 million Ghanaians that we have?
What I'm just saying is that
Yeah.
I'm just giving an instances the level of insecurity in this country. I've given an instance related to vigilante groups, political vigilante groups. I've given an instance where people have been murdered. I've given an instance where crime rate has gone up. I've given an instance where kids have been kidnapped. I've given a whole lot of instances. Vigilante is one aspect of insecurity which is being sponsored by the state, because as we speak, nobody can doubt the fact that these Delta Force, the invisible forces, are owned by the NPP. Their own, what they call it, executives, their own appointees have said that, listen, it belongs to them. So what I'm just simply saying is this. The issue about what happened in 2013 and 2015, as we speak, is irrelevant, because that is the reason why Ghanaians effected the change. So we don't expect President Danso Akufo-Addo or the NPP to be talking about what happened in 2013 and 2015. Then if that is the argument, then there was no need for the NPP to have campaigned for...
But you're also coming back.
No, we are coming
Why
back.
should I have confidence
And I'm
in you?
telling you, because you should have confidence in us, because the level of insecurity as you are witnessing today is unprecedented.
Okay.
That is exactly what I'm saying. That's why I give you a litany of what we call it, a litany of example. That all these things are enumerated. Have you ever witnessed it under the fourth Republican dispensation, Kwame? Have you witnessed an instance that political party vigilante groups storm a court premises and change what we call it, chase even a judge? Have you witnessed an instance there has been a by-election that state-sponsored what we call terrorists invade what we call it, the jurisdiction of the by-election and start maiming and even attacking innocent guys? Have you ever witnessed it before? Have you ever witnessed an instance where a police officer has been beaten to pulp right at the presidency before?
All right.
Have you witnessed an instances?
All right.
So I'm giving you an instances where what we are witnessing currently, in as much as every administration has been characterized in one insecurity or one way or the other, what we are witnessing now is unprecedented. And that's exactly what I'm saying.
How do we address this issue? Because it appears that even if you, I think, if you read this particular story, the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons made references to the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center's report in 2014. And I am privileged to have it here. And it actually does a very wonderful job in grouping, the places where we have the firearms. And if you read, it says that in the northern region has the highest number of guns, recording 39%, followed by Ashanti region 19%, Burahafo at the time 17%, Upper West and Greater Accra recorded 16% each. And he also added that Western region recorded 15%, Eastern 14%, Volta 12%, Upper East 9%, and Central 8%. He explained that the survey was conducted in all the 10 regions at the time of Ghana, with 5 districts in each region. So according to him, selecting the districts, constitution was given to conflict background, post-conflict background, and peace. So, I mean, it is quite clear how even the research was done and the import of that research. So, Delali,
Yeah.
how do we deal with this issue? Because I can appreciate your frustration, particularly because we are going into the 2020 elections, and I can also appreciate your frustration because of the issues that we've had relative to vigilantism and the fact that we have not completely disbanded the vigilantes that we have, even though there's a law calling for the disbandment of same. So I can appreciate your frustration. I can appreciate your frustration also primarily owing to some pockets of violence, that have sprung up in respect of our political activities. I can appreciate the frustration because persons who are supposed to know and act better within the political circles have failed woefully in adhering to the principles of good governance and rule of law. So I can appreciate your frustration. I can appreciate your frustration because we know that we've read and seen mayhem visited on people in this country. So I can appreciate your frustration, but how do we deal with this particular issue? Because it's still there. And the most unfortunate aspect is that you have about 1.2 million of the firearms not registered. So it means that it's in the hands of people who have not registered, people who can use it to cause mayhem and do whatever it is that they want to do. So, that's the danger. And this year's election, as has been said by many Ghanaians, will go down in history as one of the most keenly contested elections, and anything can happen. We are praying for peace, but anything can equally happen. So how do we deal with all of these issues, knowing that we do not have a proper glimpse of people who are having the firearms and what they intend to do with them, and also the fact that we have not fully, completely disbanded the vigilantes we have in this country?
I think, honestly, you see, for me, I think that there's a reason why, as a country, we've elected people to man the affairs of this country. I am not a defense minister. I am not the IGP. I am not the chief of defense staff. I am not being elected to become the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. I don't get briefing every morning relative to the security situation in this country. Somebody has been elected, and somebody, as we speak this morning, somebody will be giving a briefing relative to the security architecture of this country. Somebody will be giving a briefing relative to the resources that has been made available to our security services. So that person must be on top of issues. That person has also appointed somebody who is in charge of our prosecution. So when it comes to this, when somebody commits a crime, the only reason why there's a punitive measures in our constitution meted out to people who are fall short of the law is to serve as a deterrent. Is to serve as a means of preventing people from committing the same crime, or to serve as a means of minimizing the rate at which people want to commit that same crime. But when you have an instances, Kwame, people have committed a crime. People are in possession of firearms, who under normal circumstances, they are not supposed to be in possession of it. They are not supposed to be even, they are not supposed to even fire a warning shot at a registration center. It happens. What do we do? You see, I always say one thing. One of our biggest problems as a country is because we have created what I call class society. We have created a society where we are selective when it comes to application of the law. Imagine like what happened in my constituency. If it was me, Delali, or any ordinary member, went to a registration center, fired a warning shot. Kwame, do you think that person would have been walking free as we speak? So you see, when you are doing that, it doesn't in any way, right, create certain impression where people feel like, listen, once I do this, I'll be punished. If I do this, I'll be sent to prison, I'll be prosecuted. But once they feel that Kwame have done it, so once Kwame have done it, he was left off the hook, it's emboldening the lady to do the same thing. And sometimes our own pronouncement, because once people have committed a crime, even in as much as they are your party people, you should be able to condemn it. But when you have an instance where Kwame prosecution have started, and you have the Attorney General, who is the principal legal advisor, who prosecute, goes to court and say, I filed a null prosecute. Kwame, what happened to that? What is going to happen? Do you think it's going to serve as a deterrent enough? No wonder you have people who belong to political party and feel like once their political party is in power, right, we can do anything with impunity. I hope we'll be coming to the issue about, let me even touch on it. Kwame, you see what happened in Odududu during the weekend. The very guy, one of the guy who was active, who was one of the architects, called Tenji. Kwame, do you know what he did in Kaswa?
Tell me.
He when he go to Kaswa, the chief was killed. Allegedly, he was one of the people who were involved in the killing of the chief. During what we call the lockdown, if I tell you the number of NDC supporters in Ghana, that this same guy beat to pop, to the extent they dragged this guy to a cemetery. Beat the guy to pop.
The NDC guy?
I'm talking about the Tanji, the guy who was one of the ringleaders of what happened in Odododo. When you go to Kaswa, what he did during the lockdown, beating NDC members to pop. To the extent that this guy can be holding a gun, firing warning shots into the air. Daring even NDC constituents and NDC members that if you joke, I'll kill you. What happened to Tenji? He quickly relocated to what we call it, Odododo. And yesterday, what happened? He was one of the ringleaders. So you see, what I'm just simply saying is that when people feel like, listen, my party is in power, I can commit a crime, I can go scot-free. I don't care. It's not about who have committed a crime against. So long as my party is in power, I go scot-free. So the only thing we can do in order to be able to minimize this crime that we are witnessing in this country, Kwame, is for the political leaders of this country to apply the laws, the rules. It doesn't matter who asks is God. It doesn't matter whether you belong to my political. It doesn't matter whether you are one of the people who campaign vigorously for me to win political power or not. So long as we continue to shield people because they belong to our political party, so long as even police officers, people get arrested when they go to the police station, they only just need one phone call from one politician, one big man, and all of a sudden the matter is thrown into the dock. All of a sudden the issue is being swept under the carpet. So once it happens like that, you are not building a civilized society. You are not building a society where people think that, listen, they are all equal before the law. But you are building a class society where a minister feels like, listen, I'm above the law.
You are building a society where even police officers will stand by the roadside, stop a taxi driver who has committed a lesser crime, and allow a politician to go because he's a politician. So once you continue to do that, you create a certain mindset, a certain impression that, listen, me and Majid can go and commit a crime, we'll go scot-free because you are a politician. But when the trader go and commit the same crime, he's been arrested, he's been processed before court, and he's been incarcerated. Just like what happened during the, during the lockdown. When you have an instance, a pastor was organizing church service, all of a sudden, he was quickly arraigned before court, he was incarcerated. And people committed more worse crime than what the pastor committed. What happened to them?
Okay.
That's the way
Thank
to
you
be
very
able to
much.
do
Let me
this.
come to you, my first soprano, on this subject matter.
Well, Kwame, I've been listening raptly to my good man, Dela, and we hear him loud and clear. You see, Kwame, as I said earlier, the problems that this country is facing, and when you say that the youth is in the majority, so the problems the youth of this country are facing, you know, it's a construct of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress. Between President Akufo-Addo and President Kufuor and Professor Kwame Nkrumah and Dr. Kwesi Boche and, you know, General Arnold Kwenu, all the, you know, Alhaji Hudu Yahya, these are the people who have been running this country since 1980, my brothers and sisters. So you need to go to the doorstep of President Rawlings, go to the doorstep of Dr. Kwesi Boche, and all of these, you know, the doorstep of President J. Kufuor, Nana Akufo-Addo. These problems we are enumerating and crying about, it's because of them. They have not been able to handle it as they could have, considering their vast exposure and experience. But Kwame, and just by the way, if you permit me, just briefly in a sentence. Today, I heard President John Mahama this morning, you know, on Ghana Broadcasting Radio, and he used the word digitalization. I've also heard Vice President Bawumia Alhaji saying digitalization. Kwame, I think it's digitization.
It's digitization.
Yes, I think our leaders have got it twisted. I stand to correction. But
unless they are using the word digital.
So digitalization.
No, you can say digitalize. If you're saying digital. Digitization is also there.
Yes.
You can say, I think you can use both.
I think it's
digitization. You can use both.
Yes, you know, but digitalization.
Like, I think you can use both.
You see, Auntie Nana Jane. Auntie Jane is an English major, if I'm not mistaken.
So you have digitalization.
Okay.
Which says the conversion of text, pictures, or sound into a digital form.
Okay.
That can be processed by a computer.
Sure.
So
do you have digitization?
There's digitization too.
Okay.
So digitalization is there, and then I'll get the digitization.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
And there's also digitization, which I'm sure means the same. The conversion of text, pictures, or sound into a digital form. So it's the same thing.
Okay.
So you can either use digitalization or digitization. Yes. So please, former President Mahama and Bawumia are not wrong.
And they are not wrong. But they are both rather confusing, wouldn't you say?
They are not confusing.
They are not.
I'm saying, I read digitization to you now, and I read digitalization to you earlier, and I'm saying that they are the same. If you check the meaning, it's the same text. It says the conversion of text, pictures, or sound into a digital form that can be processed by a computer, and then it says, okay, so what's the difference between digitization and digitalization?
Great.
It's the conversion of analog to digital, whereas digitalization. So digitization is the conversion of analog to digital, whereas digitalization is the use of digital technologies and digitized data to impact how work gets done.
Wow.
So in the context of what they are saying, I think it's digitalization. Thank you.
It's all very digital, Kwame. It's all very digital.
Even your understanding was not digitalized.
but the average person would be confused by all of this, you know. And don't blame me for being slightly confused, because the clueless duopoly of the MPP and the NDC is actually quite confusing. But let me get on point here, Kwame. Let me get on point here. You see, Kwame, this issue of, they say 2 million small arms in civilian hands. You understand? And when they talk about civilian, they are talking about the good people of Ghana. You know, the Ghanaian civilian. So, Kwame, personally, I'm very happy that we have so many small arms in the hands of Ghanaians, because I think Ghanaians are a responsible people. And in so long as you are possessing small arms, you know, in a legal manner, then you are doing the right thing. Kwame, my position is based on several observations I've made. For instance, if you go to the United States, a key part of their constitution that they don't mess around with, especially I'm talking about rural white people. They usually say rural white folk. You know, rural white folk. You are talking about those guys, you know, with long hair, white guys with long hair in a pickup truck and a bazooka in the back, that kind of thing. You know, these are Second Amendment Americans, you know, or conservatives, as we say. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, which says you have the right to bear arms. It's a very important right. You understand? Because Kwame, you see, to begin with, it creates a certain equity. You know, it gives a certain average, a certain equity in average force. You know, if you have a gun and I have a gun, everybody is careful, and that is good. You understand? Especially if the weapons are registered, and you know, and then you know that means you have been tested to see that you are not mentally retarded or challenged. You understand? Kwame, there's also the issue of self-defense. You understand? Owning small arms is an issue of self-defense, especially when, you know, in this era, and Dela, you were talking about security. You understand? You were talking about the fact that people are apprehensive and that there's some level of insecurity in the country. And if that premise, as is held by several Ghanaians, is indeed true, then I submit that, you know, people, civilians in Ghana, you know, the Ghanaian civilians having small arms is a good thing. By the way, historically, it has also been a good thing. And remember that our ancestors resisted the colonial Europeans, you understand, with their own small arms. You know, when we didn't have that sort of centralized situation whereby, like for instance, in today, the Ghana Armed Forces has an armory, you understand, and you know, guard and all of that professional stuff, so that when need be, they release, you know, the appropriate weapons, you know, to tackle a certain, you know, challenge, you understand. But back in the day, in the days of our ancestors, when, you know, white people from Europe came here to sort of rob our gold and steal our people and stuff like that, you know, with the help of some few black people, you know, our ancestors were self-armed, you understand, and it's very, very important, you understand. At night, when you are attacked by armed robbers and you have 2 or 3 pump action weapons or AR-15, which is almost like the AK-47. I don't even know if the laws allow you to have a couple of grenades, you know, so that if the armed robbers are around and you fly 2 grenades, boom, boom, you know. So having the right to defend yourself is important, because Kwame, I read somewhere, and I stand to correction, but I read somewhere that the police often react to crime. You understand? So when armed robbers come to your house and you call the police, you know, the police, you know, but usually by the time they get there, if you are not armed adequately, the armed robbers would have done something terrible to you and your family and your daughter. You understand? So if you are armed, you see, and then the armed robbers attack you, by the time the police get to your house, you should be ready to show them 2 or 3 dead armed robbers and tell them they attacked me and my wife. There they are. Please take them away. So if you are legitimately armed, as per the constitution, and you've been to the police, you've signed all the documents, I think it's a good thing. Kwame, also, you know, it helps to, you know, sort of keep everybody honest, as I said. And then one item is this: there are people who, of course, you know, are afraid that it might, you know, they call it a proliferation. I don't think so. When we have 30 million people and only 2 million people have arms, statistically, I think that it's even underrepresented. You understand? More people need to be armed legally in their homes. It will make everybody honest, and it will bring down violent armed robbery. You see, and so the issue then becomes, how do we effectively keep a track of all of these arms in the country? And I don't think it's too many. 2 million small arms for 30 million people is too small. Kwame, and by the way, interestingly, you said that the northern region has 39% ownership, and then the western region has about 15%. And I found that very interesting. You see, we in the Convention People's Party, we try to make decisions that are based on data, so that, you know, we can be on point, you know, the algorithms, etc. So when northern region has 39% ownership and 15% ownership to the western region, I find that rather interesting, Mujib, because especially when you consider that not too long ago, there was a war in Cote d'Ivoire. And then, you don't have small arms showing up in the border, the next area next to the Cote d'Ivoire border. And I thought that is a rather interesting observation. But Kwame, the point is this. People's worry, I don't think most people have a problem that you own a gun in your house. I think they are probably afraid that you might not have registered it, in which case it could be stolen or misused, or stolen from you and misused, or it could be misused even in your possession. And one thing about, registering your weapon is that the police, they have sophisticated forensic technologies that are able to assist them, to track weapons, especially if they are registered. So that, Kwame, when you shoot a bullet out of a gun, it gives it a peculiar fingerprint, so to speak, a peculiar fingerprint in quotes.
Yeah, that's why when they shoot, they pick the shells.
Precisely, so that it can trace it to a gun. And that's why we need the weapons to be registered. So my fellow Ghanaians, if you own a weapon, please go and register it. Kwame, but in conclusion, there is the key fundamental element to gun ownership, which is the security apparatus. The last called it the security infrastructure architecture that supports gun ownership. And I'm saying that, needless to say, I'm confident that whatever system that the Ghana Police Service is using is obsolete or probably inadequate. You understand? Because, Kwame, you know what? Even though right now we have such free technological instruments like WhatsApp, etc., what happens is that somebody could commit a crime at Kwame Nkrumah Circle. He will be arrested and maybe put out on bail. And then he walks about 1 mile to Adabraka and he will commit a crime. They take him to the Adabraka police station, and at that point in time, the Adabraka police station, 1 mile away from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, it's not aware that this guy just committed a crime. And I'm saying that we do not necessarily need the government to go and take a Eurobond, that's what you guys seem to be specializing in. You don't need to raise a Eurobond to come and create a contract for another MPP guy to design some digitized, whatever infrastructure. WhatsApp and all of some of these things can create platforms that, can facilitate this.
All right.
So Kwame, and in conclusion, please bear with me. All I'm saying is that there are free forensic tools available. You understand? And, I would like to recommend that the Ghana Police Service take a look at the cloud-based Amazon Web Services, aws.com. Please, if nothing at all, it's free. It's not me saying it. Why don't you put it to the test, Mr. Ghana Police, if you are listening to me, aws.com, Amazon Web Services. They have a suite of free, powerful forensic tools based on algorithms and artificial intelligence that can be utilized to enhance policing in our country. You understand? And also help us to have forensic tracking systems. You understand? Probably of the virtual sort. In this era of virtual everything. You understand? So that we can use it to, modernize our tracking of small arms in the country, registered and possibly even unregistered. You understand? And also, in conclusion, I'd like to appeal to parents. Please, parents, if you are listening to me, then take a minute and visit www.Amazon Web Services. They have fantastic free tools that your kids who are at home right now can utilize. Amazon Web Services, they offer free coding lessons in, audiovisual. You understand? I've been taking some of these lessons just to big up myself. Coding, free coding. You can learn how to do gaming. Don't underestimate gaming. You understand? It is like the way music has become. Gaming, when you create a game, when your son or daughter is able to create a video game, you understand? It is intellectual property. And they sell it on Google Play like the way they sell Chatawale songs. And there are some people, some kids that are bringing home to their parents $200,000, $300,000 a week because their game was a hit. These are things we learn in university and get 3 degrees and 4 degrees on. It's not some riff-raff thing. It brings money to the country and it gives great lifestyles. You understand? Let's not underestimate these things. So coding, gaming, artificial intelligence, and robotics, where Ghanaian youth are already showing superiority across the globe. You see, when I talk like this, you please, my fellow Ghanaians, understand that I'm inspired by the legacy of President Kwame Nkrumah. President Kwame Nkrumah was clear.
All right.
You understand? When he said that we cannot afford in this time to live our lives, based, on, we cannot proceed based on the gait of camels and donkeys. President Kwame Nkrumah said that we have emerged, we Ghanaians, we Africans, we have emerged in an age of science and technology where poverty, ignorance, and diseases are no longer the masters, but the retreating foes of mankind. We in the Convention People's Party are determined to apply science and technology to create the jobs that we need in this country. If you're a young man and you're listening to me, and this is not just politics, this is looking far upon the centuries of time, looking at a vision that can transform our future. I'll keep on talking, for instance, about the need for us, Kwame, to try and master drone aviation. In my mind's eye, I believe it is possible in Ghana for our youth to start building drones. In about 20 years, it is possible that you can send your daughter to school in a drone. You understand? Set on autopilot. Whilst you are cooking fufu in the house, it will take your daughter to school and back. These are real things, my fellow Ghanaians. If we aspire to these things, the moon will be even small for us. But instead, the youth of this country are obsessed with following politicians that are thinking about providing Okada as a future for this country. You understand? So if you're a young man
thank you very
and you
much.
continue to go for
you have digressed.
Okada, okay.
You have digressed.
Forward ever. Thank you
have
very
digressed.
much. Okada politicians.
You have
Okay.
digressed for far too. I think I need to. Well, let me say a special good morning to you, Honorable Alhaji Baba Seidu Esefu, who is the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Naleregu Gambaga constituency. You have launched your campaign and you have outlined the things that you want to do within your constituency. I am solidly behind you, as I am solidly behind some other colleagues of mine who are contesting in some other constituency, for instance, Asensubuachi in Bantama and a few other friends of mine. So Alhaji Baba Seidu, I'm solidly behind you. You have indicated that you are going to ensure that the free primary health care policy that has been introduced by the NDC will be strictly adhered to in your constituency. You're going to ensure that you pitch for the continuation of the E-blocks in your constituency. Completion of some section of the Eastern Corridor Road is also part of the things that you want to ensure that comes to fruition. Educational infrastructure, basic schools, and I think that is important because oftentimes we talk about free SHS, but we don't look at the foundations. And if you are somebody who is progressive enough, you look at the foundation before you look at the free SHS, and also creation of jobs. I've had the cause to fight with a lot of people, primarily because they talk about free SHS, but they don't talk about what jobs are going to be created, so that when people finish or complete their SHS education and they are done with their university, they can get jobs to do. Sure. What is free SHS if you finish and you come and stay at home and not get anything to do? So I think that there should be that. It's a great policy. I mean, I don't begrudge it. But I think that for the forward march of our dear nation, Ghana, there should be that connect, so that once you are done with free SHS and, you go into the universities and you come out, at least there's something for you to do. So I think that's what the chain that we need to look at, because as we speak currently, we have, if you look at the fallout, right? You have about over 200,000 people being churned out annually from the universities, right? So when they come out, let's say government absorbs like 50,000 of those. I'm just assuming that 50,000 of those. We have a backlog of about 150,000 people. So those people, what are they going to do? Let's say that some of them will be creative enough. So 50,000 of them will be creative enough to get into their own businesses, so become entrepreneurs and selling, makeup kits and things like that online. So some of them are going to be creative. So what happens to the 100,000 that is left? So I mean, for me, that is where we should be looking at, not just free SHS. Okay, yeah, free SHS. Your child finishes SHS education, is able to go to the university, comes out and stays at home. I mean, that's actually so ridiculous.
But some people are promising that they will give them Okada to drive. So that's another way forward.
I mean, that's it. I think your argument,
Okada strategy.
I'm not holding brief for anybody, but I think that argument you are espousing is misplaced, because the system is already there. People are already operating.
Sure.
So it's not like I'm saying that I'm coming to create a job called Okada. Okay. It is already there. But the argument is that these people are not really generating revenues from what they are doing, because it is at the moment illegal.
Illegal,
And
okay.
that the police and some other institutions are taking advantage of the illegality of the business and extorting money from these people. So they are not able to feed their families well. So if it is there, if they are doing it, then why don't we find a way of legalizing and making sure that it's properly regulated so that we will reduce accidents on our roads, so that people will not be jumping red lights and things like that. But then they will still effectively move people from where they live to other places. Because
and create employment.
And create employment.
But Kwame, and that's why I'm also saying that even
know.
the so-called Sakawa boys, you see this issue of Sakawa, where we have a lot of youth that are very savvy in digital issues. And when we are not able to translate them from fraud to employment,
I'm coming to
the CPP has a plan for those
I'm coming
boys.
to Muji, but that's a very important argument that you have
The
raised.
CPP has a plan for those
Ask
boys.
yourself, and all three of you, well, before we end the show, I'll get you to touch on it. So Muji, if you can write it down.
Yes, sir. Thank
But I'm not saying fraud is good. I condemn it wholeheartedly. But for the existence of fraud, imagine what would have happened in this country.
There you go.
What would people have been doing? Think about it.
I mean,
That if, for instance, people were not getting small monies from the fraud that they are doing, majority of the Ghanaian people, the Ghanaian youth, would have been unemployed in this country.
Sure. You see,
Mudib, let's hear from you. We will have to touch on this.
Yeah,
and
appreciate you, Kwame.
Mudib,
before thank you to the topic, but I think I have to also let you know.
yes, sir.
The educational system that we have, I think it is at the SS point that the child mind is opened.
It's developed. Yeah.
It's developed. Just like maybe, I don't know, so, the O-level system. I think that is the time that the man, when he finished, then he decide where to go. Sure. And even as a parent or teacher, you would have been able to detect where the capability of your ward are, and then you can reshape into that angle. But I think that, you see, when you give the opportunity at that level, then maybe at that point the child now decide. And let's then discourage the TVET education, the technical education. It's very, very, very important.
if it is
Kwame,
digitized,
Kwame, our the taste of Ghana, we have to change our taste from the colonial, the Thai. I listened to former President Mahama when he was interviewed by Asempa, and he made a very good submission on when this our oil extraction. Then at a point they needed welders, and he thought maybe it's the ordinary welders. Later he was told that they needed is it US-based certificate something welders. And you see, so these are the areas that Kwame. And now, many years ago we didn't have oil. Now we have oil. So it means it's an area as a country we have to take advantage. So according to him, these people were brought from elsewhere to come and be manning those activities. So that hitherto would have been an employment to our people.
In support of what you're saying, there was this post on Facebook about, and I know that you may not be happy about it because it talks about Nana Akufo-Addo, but the person was like, it's so strange in this country that the JSS guy who was able to himself independently put together a vehicle has not been able to catch the eye of the president. But the National Science and Maths Quiz, who have been doing X and Y, has been able to
who may not even be able to put them together.
Absolutely.
We have all that.
But it goes to the heart of what you are saying.
Kwame, that is the colonial taste and the mentality.
That is what I'm saying. We will treat that issue separately. So address this quickly.
When COVID strike,
address this.
I thought that maybe look at this University of Science and Technology. One of their lecturers and the students were manufacturing this test case, and a lot of innovations came up. And I thought that as a country, that was an opportunity for us to just go in. Just give them the support and
touch on this. We'll come.
Kwame, on the issue of the small arms in civilian hands. I listened to the chief executive officer of the Ghana Small Arms List. Kwame, when it comes to security matters in this country, I want us to be nationalistic and don't wear our party clothes. So I was surprised my good friend Delali took it and want to blame the issue at the squarely at the doorstep of the president. You may be right, but let's look at it. It's our future is on the line. The national security of our country is on the line. Kwame, it is not entirely illegal to possess firearm in this country, but you can go through the processes and get it. Last 2 weeks, I read a report online, and military officers, they are still under investigations. And preliminary findings of the investigation revealed that they were sent outside to Lebanon for peacekeeping.
Okay.
When these guys were coming to the country, Kwame, they bought some of these arms, these shotguns, pistol, brought into this into Ghana, and were hiding it somewhere. Some were even picked at something cemetery or so when they picked the signal and arrested them to trace and get this gun. So these are military officers and military officers.
It's still an investigation.
We have our borders. Not quite long ago, Cote d'Ivoire was under turmoil, under Laurent Gbagbo and this thing. And you know Ghana, our border between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. If we don't man our borders well, after all this, people will just sneak in with those weapons and will sell to people. I hope you are getting the argument. But I don't want to be more political. So when we're manning the borders, we're being accused of trying to prevent people from registering. But let's leave it. But we need to protect the integrity and national security of this country. So when you turn here, the people have something to say. When you turn here, the people have something to say.
Very well done.
High validity. You see, so basically, the issue is.
I like Mujib. He's not talking plenty.
No. Well, Kwame, you go straight to the point. Kwame, America have more intelligence than the rest of us across the globe. But every day the shootings going on. We don't pray. We see that in Ghana here. Kwame, I will blame the security apparatus in this country, especially the Ghana police force. Kwame, they have so many strategies that they can employ within a specified of time to retrieve about quarter or half of these guns from this individual. Oh, they can do it. They can do it. Kwame, it is the law permit them. Where do you stay? I stay at Achimota. Within 2 weeks, they can say they are just searching the area, even if they don't want to come into your room. But maybe people drive from their houses to the main roads. You just intercept the people and search their cars. Even though they have been doing that, but they have to do it in a vigorous manner so that they can retrieve these arms across the length and breadth of this country. I hope you are getting the argument. So Kwame, and they know where these guys are who are also terrorizing us. They are intelligent too. They know because today if you decide to join police force, you are still my friend, you are my brother. You know where I live, you know where all the guys do. So you can, if they want to help, they will help. But we pray that they will indeed have to perform their legal constitutional duty because they swear to protect their integrity and to make sure we live freely and scale us as a country. Kwame, I haven't finished.
Okay. I thought you wanted to.
Kwame, you know this topic is broad. You gave them a lot of time.
No, I did. but I know that you wanted to address it.
No,
because I asked the questions for you.
But but they have put everything on me.
Okay.
And they said we under us.
That's what I needed.
And I want to ask you, but I like the way you took him on because there's no any government that we haven't experienced armed robbery in this country. There's no any government that we haven't experienced.
I think the issue has to do with the magnitude of it.
Even today, I don't want to go there. Even today, some parliamentary candidates are assisting in investigation because of their alleged compliance.
Oh, Master.
No, but Kwame, say I don't know. But they are all there, Kwame. But you see what? You see,
Paul.
No, you see, you are downplaying this one. You are downplaying all this. So Kwame, it is not a good news that we have to work. You have to
work this guy.
But Kwame, you can't. But every government is guilty of maybe armed robbery and all those things.
Absolutely,
It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And JB Danko was murdered. Who was the president then?
Yeah.
It's not John.
was not murdered. That's a historical.
No. The MP who was killed in his house. But he was murdered. JB was murdered. He was murdered.
Mujib,
Even though he wrote extensively to Kwame Nkrumah, telling him where they were coming from, but they refused to remove it.
Are you done?
He was murdered.
Thank you very much, Mujib.
Don't let us
Nash in Sagnarigu says, Kwame, can I read my messages? A little bit of them. Nash in Sagnarigu says, Kwame, God bless you for your great work, the great work you are doing for your station, because you have brought a lot of viewers to Pan-African television. Thank you very much, Nash in Sagnarigu, for this message. Also, Walanyo Nakwetia says, do we have to turn the peace we are enjoying to chaos because we want to search a job for someone's relative? The leadership who handled this preventable wrangling of the radio should be shamefully bow their heads down in shame. Thank you very much. Musa Abatwa in Kumasi says, KO, the unleashing of the SWAT police on the innocent Ayawaso West Wagon constituent is a direct Ghanaian version of SARS. Nefarious activities in Nigeria. After brutalizing the people of this community, including slapping of a certain member of parliament without any action taken, on Saturday night, another unit of police called anti-robbers storm Asawasi MP's office, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, to pick NDC supporters for no apparent reasons. The citizens realized police are not being professional to protect them. They use all means possible to protect themselves. And I do not want us to get to the point where the citizens will feel that they are not safe anymore and they want to resort to protecting themselves. I think that regardless of whatever political affiliations some of these police persons may have, they must think Ghana first, and that's the most important thing. Kwame, 2 million small arms in civilian hands is simply a failure of the function of the state to provide adequate security for the citizens, and the absolute lack of confidence by the people in the state security apparatus to protect lives and properties. Hence, the acquisition of arms and ammunition to protect themselves, either against state-sponsored criminals and armed robbery and other life-threatening crimes. Honorable Timothy Atebwade Awuntrim. Good morning to you, Honorable, and thank you very much for doing the watching this morning. I'm not going to read any more messages for now, but I'll make sure that I read as many as I can, as much as I can, before I end the show. Let's discuss this issue. No, we'll get that will be the final issue. Let's discuss this issue, and I think that I've seen it on different portals. Sami Jemfi raises red flags over GCB check to my sister's keeper, the Inquisitor. And let me start with you, Mujib, on this subject matter. I'm sure you've been following events. Yesterday, I must express my disgust about the response from this man. What's his name? Maurice Ampao. I think he's a lawyer or something like that.
No, he's a lawyer. Don't you take
because the lawyers that I know in this country don't talk like that. The law is, the law is a very sacrosanct profession. Listen, no matter, yeah, it's a very sacrosanct profession. No, we can open it up, but we also have to ensure that.
Lawyers have been running Ghana.
So the truth is that.
Yeah, we are now.
So the truth is that I thought that his response was really very backward and very infantile, if I should say that, for somebody of his stature. But Mujib, let me hear from you. Sami Jeffrey raises red flags over GCB check. And the argument has been, I've seen the response from the MPP that, why? So the fact that Nana Akufo-Addo is the president means that the children should not work or they cannot engage in charitable acts. I find that to be very interesting, considering that the narrative has now changed. That now if your brother or your father is president, you can also get some contracts to do, or you can, by way of engaging in some charitable acts, go for scholarship and things like that.
Kwame, this is not the first time. I think past presidents, relatives, and their own children.
JJ Wallace never had any relative in his government.
No, I'm not saying even in government, but you can work. When you are working, whether they are government supplies or contracts, when you qualified and you go through the process, I think you shouldn't be prevented from getting it.
I see.
Kwame, you see,
but Ibrahim
Kwame, I'm coming. No, but some of us condemned that at that time, especially when Ibrahim Mama was dredging the Odo River. And people thought that maybe this was a contract given to him and they were condemning him. Masa, some of us said no. Even if that is it, so what? But it turned out to be that this was what he was doing. He was not paid. He allowed his tipper trucks and machines to be there. Maybe I call it a corporate social responsibility. Maybe whatever it is, the state has gotten contract from the state long before the brother became president. So if he felt that this is what we are going through, and he has the capability and the capacity to assess, why do we prevent it?
This is your personal position, and I respect your personal position because we have not. Hold on. But we are advancing this argument in reference to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's own submission prior to him becoming the president of this country in 2016. Prior to 2016, the things that he said that he was not going to run a family and friends government, and it's clear.
Come,
what we're seeing that as a result of regulation.
I don't know whether you have recording or something like that.
Of what the president said, that he was not going to run a family and friends government.
Kwame. But every government, every president cannot say in one way or the other they didn't have his relatives in government. President Kufuor has his own brother who was defense minister.
One person.
I don't know most of his relatives. I don't know.
One.
You know all his relatives.
No, but one. At least
Former President Mama has his relatives in the government.
Don't add S to it. He had only one person in the
I don't know all his relatives, so I can't say. But
I'm telling you.
But relative is relative.
Who?
But relative is relative. So if I become president today, tomorrow, and ask you to come and perform, and so they say I've brought my friend. So what is wrong? No,
it depends on your utterances. If you say that somebody is bringing their friend, so it's bad.
And
you come and bring your friends, and you think they should glorify you for that.
Sometimes let's look at the political atmosphere. Let me refer them to belittle that and even be complaining. Kwame, you are Ghanaian before. They are Ghanaians. And it happens that their father is now the president of the Republic of Ghana. That didn't take their Ghanaian nationality from them. So Kwame, they can contribute and they are helping. I hope you are getting the argument. So why are we so mad about today? Today we have seen something wrong with what these sisters have done. Kwame, what is so wrong? What is so strange about it? So say me in your papa.
2 legs good, 4 legs bad.
Oh, don't go there, Kwame. Don't hype Kwame. Don't join those bandwagon.
I'm not joining
those
the
group
bandwagon.
of people. Though,
I think it's about principle.
We are discerning. At a point, Kwame, society is changing. We can't continue being stagnant. Kwame, some people criticize because they just want to criticize. When you interrogate them, they can't tell you exactly what they are saying. You and I know, me, I sat here on many occasions. I say, look, whether you are President A brother, you are President A son, you are Ghanaian, if you are qualified to get a work or to get a job, what is big deal about that? What is big deal about that?
Do you know how we have struggled to get sponsorship for an all-women conference in this country?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And I'm saying that, are you saying that there are no non-governmental organizations in this country that are independently doing extremely well, that need government support that have not been given?
And some too have been given.
Who?
I don't.
My sister's keeper has been given. My sister's keeper has been given because of the direct relationship with the president. Are you telling me?
But that is also a fact. Kwame, but even Kwame, let's don't deceive ourselves.
But you see,
Kwame, today,
it wouldn't have been a problem if they had given my brother's keeper the same a similar support, so that if my brother soprano goes and says that, okay, I'm also running. In fact, you even have an NGO like that.
Sure. No, he has a farm, not an NGO.
No, he has an NGO.
Sure, I don't know.
Fundraising or something.
I don't know of that. I only know it's a serious.
No, I'm not asking.
I only know it's a serious. And he has benefited from planting for food and jobs, so he can't.
Benefit?
You want to sit here and disagree?
I don't want you to digress. You have not been benefiting from
Kwame.
Make your point.
Yeah.
Make your point.
Kwame said, "Maka," and you.
Wow,
Kwame,
I'm surprised.
Kwame,
Anyway,
let's move.
okay,
And
let's move.
This is
Ghana.
Yeah,
So, all right, cool. Let me come to you, Soprano.
Thank you, Kwame. I read a story in the Inquisition.
Wow.
And wow, indeed,
like I'm surprised.
No, Kwame, we have to answer.
Principles are either wholly kept or wholly abandoned.
We have to change. And sometimes we have to change.
So now you know we have to change.
Oh, but Kwame. But what is
I'm
wrong?
sorry, you see, Mujib, I expect you as a very progressive Ghanaian, okay, to make statements that will bolster confidence in the system.
Yeah.
To make statements that will not people feel less of Ghanaians as the other.
Yeah.
If it was bad when John Mahama was in power,
what was
that his administration was characterized by friends and family, and that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo on the basis of that had the cause to say that when he became president, he was not going to run a family and friends government. Then I think we must condemn it in no uncertain terms. I'm surprised.
Kwame, anyway, you see, Kwame, I'll tell you what. You see, the president of Ghana today, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, whom we love very much, we love him so dearly. But Kwame, he has lost political capital seriously because of his because of his stance with regards to the extended family involved in all parts of government. You understand? Kwame, historically, okay, sometimes personally, as a student of Ghana's political history, okay, one of my mentors and one of the Ghanaians that I hold in high esteem in that regard.
No, you started business in 2017 after the assumption of your father into office. You started business in 2017, so you didn't know that you wanted to engage in NGO. Even in 2016 or 2015, you didn't know that. You see, when I hear people defend these things, sometimes I shrink. I'm saying, you are defending this. Put yourself in that situation. If you were running an organization and you went for sponsorship and they denied you, how would you feel?
I thought was.
It's sad. Like sometimes, sometimes let's not do politics with these things. It's not right. Everybody can do business, no problem. Nobody has a problem with that. Everybody. But you see, you should not sit somewhere, criticize somebody's administration that they are involved in friends and family kind of politics, right? And therefore, when you come, you are not going to engage in that. And then you come and you even do worse to the extent that you even put your daughter on the board. Your daughter on the board. I'm not saying your daughter cannot work. Your daughter can equally work, no problem. But don't come and tell me that you won't do that when you know that when you come, you will do that. What kind of country are we building? How do I trust you? It's about trust.
But Kwame, that's why we are saying vote for the CPP. You cannot trust President Akufo-Addo or President John Mahama. Yeah, you understand? No,
don't talk like that. You know how passionate I am about Ghana.
Yes.
You know.
You see, Kwame, the only people you can trust is the glorious CPP.
No,
I'm telling you.
Who funds your party?
No,
who finances your party? Don't even go there.
Kwame, we are financing ourselves.
Who finances your party?
We are financing ourselves. Why do you think we are finding it difficult to make headway? We don't have anybody. We are finding it difficult to make headway. I'm honest about that.
Who finances you?
Kwame, nobody. We are financing me. I've been financing with my 20 this year.
When you get a opportunity, I even do worse.
No, Kwame. Kwame. That is possible because I'm human. But I will not allow this conversation to be taken off President Akufo-Addo, whose family members are taking all the goodies in the country right now. So I will stay on point. You understand? You see that the president's family members and extended family members are enjoying too much of the Ghana goodies. We, the rest of Ghanaians, which we want some, for crying out loud. Now, Kwame, the president should be seen to be more equitable. You understand? I ask myself, how many Ghanaians have had so many members of their families employed all of a sudden at once like that? We are not saying that President Akufo-Addo's family members are not qualified Ghanaians. They are very qualified indeed. If you look at the history of this country and you look at President Akufo-Addo's love for education, for which reason he staked his presidency on the free SHS. You understand? Then you see that the president's love for education is hereditary. You understand? Because indeed, if J.B. Dankwa is the doyen of politics in Ghana, then the doyen of education in Ghana is Nanase Oforiatta the first. You understand? And it's one of the reasons why the people in Chebi are on average highly educated. You understand? Most people in Chebi appreciated the value of formal education long ago. You understand? So we understand that Nana Akufo-Addo's family, especially considering that they are very privileged and highly bourgeoisie related to the former king, etc., are well schooled. You understand? They've gone to school, but surely they are not the only ones who have gone to school in Ghana. You understand? So Mr. Sami Jamfi paints a scenario, and he says that it appears that they are using their clout, their family clout, to extort money from state institutions. And I don't fault Sami for coming out the way he is, because this is why we've been saying that the president should be seen to be. That's all he has to do, to be seen to be more equitable. In this regard,
5,000 sponsorships,
you understand? In this regard, you understand? So another thing that worries me, Kwame, is the president's stature as an eminent lawyer. Okay, and you see, President Akufo-Addo, personally, I keep on saying this, Kwame, that when I grow up, I'd like to be like President Akufo-Addo. Frankly, he's an accomplished man. You understand? And he has he's very articulate. He has very bourgeoisie ways and, stuff like that and all of that. You see, and I like that. I like that. I respect that. You understand? That bourgeoisiness. What I really like about him is the way he put his handkerchief inside his sleeve and then you bring it out and cough. Then you put it's all bourgeoisie. But staying on point. You see, the president is a man of judicial precedent. This is what kills me, Kwame. President Akufo-Addo never hesitates to talk about stare decisis. That's the legal term for judicial precedent. And then he comes to set a precedent. Last time, Honorable Ambassador Sampi Yale, sent in some information to assist our conversation when I said that the president in some ways could be said to set judicial precedent. Maybe the time may not be necessarily appropriate, but the president is a leading Ghanaian. And so when he takes a certain action, it tends to percolate, okay, to sieve down. The president is showing the way that, when you get into power and your sister is qualified, fix him. Your uncle, your grandfather, your sister's brother, your brother-in-law,
your cousin's cousin.
Facilitate, stuff for them. You understand? Open doors. You see, and then one thing is this. We are a very poor country. You understand? Still. Indeed. Now, if you check the debt to GDP ratio, it is over about 76%.
76.7.
Precisely. So the president has made us and taken us deeper into the debt hole. You understand? So when you come and you give so many positions to your family, we are bothered, because the reality in this country is that the government of Ghana is the #1 employer. Okay, so when you come and you employ all your people, why couldn't you spread the wealth a little bit? You understand? So we have issues of that. This appearance of conflict of interest. And so, because of that, President Akufo-Addo has lost massive political capital because his credibility has been hurt. You understand? Now, the only person who has not been employed in his government is his grandmother, to the best of my knowledge. You understand? His family members, there are too many of them. The other day, the GNPC, talking about Samir Janfi's, reference to some people appearing to be using their positions, and relationships to extort in quotes, money from state institutions. There was this situation whereby the Ghana National Petroleum Commission, if I'm not mistaken, gave substantial monies to the Ochiman Council to celebrate an anniversary and a festival, if I'm not mistaken. You understand? So what about the paramount chief in Esansi Bonterufuo? You understand? The people at Esansi Bonterufuo, they also have a celebration, a festival. Did they give them such fantastic sums as was given to the Ochiman Council? You understand? And so if the president is not doing that, and he gives this appearance of favoritism, what does he expect? You understand? But, Kwame, in conclusion, all I'll say is this, that, you see, the people of Ghana, the majority demographic, i.e., the youth of Ghana, you should look at yourself today and ask yourself, how many members of your family have gotten a job since President Akufo-Addo became president? And I'm not talking about the job where you finish university and go and plant some tree in no. Please, I'm talking about a serious job with benefits. You understand? And these kinds of jobs that President Akufo-Addo's relatives are getting, where they get all kinds of per diem and clothing allowance and all kinds of benefits and petrol coupons and invitations to 5-star events and other such highfalutin stuff. You understand? If the president was to be more equitable in the distribution of these jobs that have been amalgamated by his relatives and close friends, then more Ghanaians would have gotten the opportunity to benefit from a more spread out wealth. You understand? That's all we expected from President Akufo-Addo. So although I would like to be like President Akufo-Addo when I grow up, I'm very, very disappointed.
Thank you very much.
Trajectory is on.
Let's hear from you on this subject matter, please.
I watched the excellent program by the National Communication Officer of the NDC, lawyer Samir Janfi. And I really felt so sad. And the question I asked myself is, where is the moral society? Where is our clergy? Where is the civil society?
Why do you people still keep calling on those guys?
No, Kwame, you see, sometimes it's if
they wanted to take it,
Kwame, for the record, you see, I listened to my brother Mujid, trying to rationalize it. Oh, once they are qualified, he thinks we have to build a Ghana beyond this pettiness and what have you. And I like the question you posed to him. Who created all this? On the 16th of January 2016, at the Kumasi Sports Stadium, the NPP were launching their fundraising. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo had the opportunity to speak during that particular program. And he made an emphatic statement that President John Dramani Mahama
is engaging in family and friend, what we call it, kind of government. And for that matter, he's promising the good people of this country that one thing he will never do is to appoint his family members into his administration. And that is what he said. And I know a lot of Ghanaians voted for President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo because they believe in that particular statement that he made. So I keep on saying, why must we change the status quo just because he has to do with President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo? He's a man that has benefited from this particular political message. You see, all of a sudden, the very things President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo benefited from when he was then candidate Nana Danso Akufo-Addo, people don't want to subject him to the same standard. And that is what, to me, I don't even understand. You see, this is the only president under the fourth Republican dispensation, probably even since independence, who has managed to appoint his own biological daughter into a position. See, to the extent that even people within the MPP circle will tell you that it's not more about family and friend. It has gone to the extent that it has become clanism in this particular dispensation. Now, what brought about this whole issue? That the MPP, if you want to listen to some of them, even in private, they concede. And listen, even within their own government, they think that they've been marginalized. They think that this government belongs to a certain group of people, a family. Why on earth? Kwame, like you said, there are Ghanaians with fantastic business proposal, looking for just 5,000 Ghana cedis. As we speak, their business ideas have died prematurely because they couldn't boast of 5,000 Ghana cedis. And you registered a company that belonged to your daughters. My sister's keeper, what they call foundation, registered in 2017. And the time that you were given the amount of 227,000 Ghana cedis, Kwame, do you know who was the managing director of Ghana Commercial Bank at that time? Resowa. Do you know who Resowa is? He's an uncle to Rebecca Akufo-Addo, the first lady of the Republic of Ghana. So it was just a cook up. You know, they wake up one morning, did a family meeting, and say, listen, this is what we intend to do. You are the uncle, go and just approve this amount of money, give it to them. And people are saying that they were engaged in what we call is social responsibility and what have you. Do you know how many Ghanaians have fine ideas that will benefit the ordinary people of this country? We even benefit generations yet unborn. But yet, because they are not connected to the corridors of power, they've been relegated to the background. Let me give you a classical example. Asante Medietu is the executive secretary to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Kwame, his mother, Vida Asante, he's the head of the presidential, what we call it, presidential household when you go to the Flagstaff House. Akwesi Kutu Asante, that is a brother. When you go to the Ghana hostel, he's a board member. When you come to Kofi Daku, that is his father. I'm talking about one person, his father. Gimpa, when you go to Gimpa. He's the board chairman when you go to Kimba. And when you come to what do you call it, even his wife, one of his wife, when you go to Kwame, what do you call it, Konfanati Teaching Hospital, he's a board member. His second wife, you are told that they've done the traditional thing, they are left to what we call the white wedding. When you go to some of what do you call it, the prison council, he's also a problem. One person. You are talking about no less than 6 people who are part of this particular administration. Juicy appointment given to one particular individual. Are you the only people who are repository of wisdom in this country? Are you the only people who attended school in this country? And when it comes to Osafu Mafo's what we call son, Kofi Butunsu Osafu Mafo, the senior minister who told Majid and his co-that listen, the public sector is choked, and for that matter, nobody can be recruited into the public sector. He found a way to appoint his own what we call, to appoint Kofi Osafu Mafo as what we call, he's the CEO of the Japan deal. He's the one representing Ghana when it comes to the Japan deal.
Kofi Osafu Mafo.
Exactly. A portfolio that has never been created before was created for him at what we call SNAE. That is in charge of operation as SNAE. It has never been there. It was created for him. His second born, Kojo Jemfi Osafu Mafo, he's the deputy director of general and head of security when it comes to NCA. But this is the same Osafu Mafo who admonished MPP members who are watching me this morning that the public sector is choked. And for that matter, they should be thinking about the private sector. But yet you were able to create 2 portfolios for your own biological children. What kind of person are you? Then when you come, see, Virginia Hesse, the present ex-wife, is a Ghana ambassador to the Czech Republic. Mujid, if you accuse His Excellency John Dramani Mahama of practicing family and friend, when the only appointee he had was Honorable Joyce Bawa Buntari, a distant relative, you had the audacity in this country to accuse President Mahama of practicing family and friend. What moral authority do you have to still be talking to the good people of this country. If President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo, indeed, he's a man of principle. He's a man that has a modicum of, what you call remembrance. But now the president should be organizing a big press conference and apologize to the good people of this country. You know that be Ochudako. The man we are told, he's the de facto chief of staff. His brother-in-law, as we speak, he's a board chairman for Bust. His own wife, and wedded wife, called Anadwa Hackman. He's a board member for GMPC. Come on, are you the only people in this country? When people refer to that this country is being governed by a certain cabal.
Well, one will ask the question: Why shouldn't they eat? Because they're now is the president. Must they be hungry?
Oh, so when President Mama was in power, what, he had relatives? Were they not qualified? Some of them were qualified, competent, because even owing to what we are witnessing under this dispensation, he's not only appointing family and friends, he's appointing family and friends who are incompetent and clueless.
Hey, exactly. Who is incompetent and clueless? What are you talking about?
Kwame, with what is currently going on in this country, all the sectors of the economy, that now we appreciate the fact that all the sectors of the economy, critical sectors, is being manned by people who are coming from the present family and friend stocks. And so the result is what I'm saying, that he's not only even appointing family and friend members, but the appointment has been so abysmal, owing to the result that we are seeing.
Okay.
So President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo has no moral right.
Okay.
If I'm him, by now he should be stepping down.
All right.
But if I'm President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo, no wonder, Kwame, when you go to every critical sectors of the economy, they are collapsing it. Do you know who is in charge of Security and Exchange Commission?
Who?
Reverend Obami Tete. He has worked with Kenyo Fuata Data Bank. You know how long? So you now appreciate why they are so bent on collapsing other financial institutions.
Okay.
Just because they want to show up data bank.
All right.
So you see, what we are simply just saying is this: President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo cannot approbate and reprobate. He cannot be a man who preach against family and friends, and all of a sudden he's actually the one saying that we should sing praise to him.
Yeah.
He cannot be the one condemning family and friends, and all of a sudden he has rather established and institutionalized it in his administration.
Thank you very much.
For me, what we are simply saying is this. Come 7 December, Ghanaians have no option. Enough is enough. Even within the MPP circle, they are telling us that, listen, Delali, tell your NDC to come and take over the leadership of this country.
All right, thank you.
We cannot be in our own party to the extent that we'll be marginalized.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Hi, Kwame. Hold on. Hi, Kwame. Former President Mahama needs you as his party communicator, communication director, not a moderator. Yaovi from Moti region. Interesting. Good morning, Kwame. Please tell Mujib that he should tell the truth because he's my mentor. He's mentor to many youth. I support the CPP man. I'm Nuruddin Kabute from Nsawam Zongo. This one also says, good morning to you, KOD. I'm highly disappointed in Mujib, and I doubt whether he's... No, how can you question his Islamicism? Pima Issa from Boko sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, KOD. Mujib has no respect for Ghanaians the way he talks. You sent this one from is it +49 as well? Is it Germany or France? Germany, okay. I don't know why you sent me this video. Fusen Izukefel Sani Turawa in Asamanke says, good morning to KOD and your panelists. KOD, Sami Jemfi raises red flags, is showing some interesting times tomorrow. And good or bad precedent is being set. Nana Danso Akufo-Addo's government. Nana Akufo-Addo's government, time will tell. Good morning to you too, sir. Today's program has made my day. Mujib and Soprano, solid from Equatorial Guinea. Wow. This one also says, good morning. First of all, may I ask where COP Kofi Boakye is? Please, the ruling party should take things serious. If care is not taken, trust me, things will worsen. All their issues as a result of their failure to punish the accused persons of the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections. Thank you very kindly for your message. Victor from Qatar says, Kwame, good morning to you. I don't know if the CPP man with you in the studio knows much about the last days of Kwame Nkrumah when he was chased out of the country. I was in the Ghana Young Pioneer, and what we went through with our parents those days were very criminal. It's those who are 70 years that know Nkrumah. Victor from Qatar sent in this one. The defense minister said the Navy Training Center that the Armed Forces of Ghana will ensure that Nana Akufo-Addo is given 4 more years. What does he mean? And is Pan-African Television letting him go? Well, Mr. Lincoln in Evalip NDC has become so attractive to most of the MPP electorates in Kaswa due to the deceit and incompetence of Hakumse. Honorable Na Koyo is a humble and respected incoming MP for Kaswa. We have policemen who rent or sell guns to young guys without them having any use for them. I think the problem's solution lies on the security services. Most of them, again, known almost all the dealers of small arms must shoot Tamale Central, Bermaha, all the way. And I want Soprano's number. Okay. I am a member of the CPP. Soprano, somebody wants your number. Do you want to put it out?
I'll take it. I'll call him.
All right. SL Joe says, Kwame, Nana want to kill us, but we will not die. Mohammed A. Sadiq says, I want Ghanaians to know what His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo is doing in Ghana today. He's very bad president for the next generation to follow. They are state looters, you say. Zega Awesome says, Nana Akufo-Addo has taken Ghana to HEPIC. This one says, Mauli Louis says, I trust JM. Alhaji Dynamo is watching. This one also is from, okay, Awesome says, when you are exposing them, then you get their absurd sympathizers speaking trash. Gible says, in fact, the Nzemas don't need Akufo-Addo's presidency in our region. Why does Ethiopian people get? What do we get from Ethiopian people get from all the oil extraction? But our chimps are benefiting. If you are talking like this, how can CPP win power? Eric Adams sent in this one. I feel embarrassed when I see a whole Minister of State of Ghana on TV and radio openly telling lies without regard to the positions he or she holds. It's a big shame to them and the nation as a whole. Thank you. And the messages are a lot. I cannot finish reading all of them. Timothy Awontirim finally says, on this subject matter, kudos to Soprano, well spoken and right on point and empathetic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Timothy Awontirim, for your message. Let me see if I have a few messages here. Okay, right. Thank you very much, Delali. Thank you very, very much, Mujib, and thank you, Soprano. Thank you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be in Northeast, Naluru Gambaga this week. When I do, I will make sure that I join the campaign to see how it's done. I need to learn more. So I'll see you guys whenever I see you. Have a nice day. God bless you so much. Bye-bye.